We're going to be discussing in the world of clown town politics. There's been another Oratchetang citing. And this one is in the political realm, right? So this one is notably up in Dolton, Illinois. Y'all, these people have like zero shame. So when this story first dropped, I really thought it was a joke. I was just like, nah, this is not really happening. But it's not a joke. It's not a joke at all. So up in Dolton, Illinois, which is about 40 minutes away from Chicago, there is the mayor of Oratchetang, TIffany Henyard. Now, y'all, this one is a piece of work. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show y'all what's on the list of wild and crazy things that this woman is doing. So all right. So here we have a city girl, wannabe mayor of a small, low-income town, using her power and authority to bully her political opponents and spend up taxpayer money. Now, we've seen this before, right? Now, we've seen the likes of like a Hillary Clinton. Everybody talking about, I didn't kill myself or delete myself, or I'm because you already know when you do something that they don't like, that they will use their power in order to bully you into silence, or you just get gone, like just disappear, right? This is classic leftist tactics. However, here we have, lavish spending of taxpayer money to, fund her city girl lifestyle. I'm going to show you a clip, not just yet, but of her using the police force to intimidate residents. She's locking trustees out of their offices, and city meetings are just chaotic and out of order. And I guess my question is, like, in the video, one of the ladies said, we just want, the powers that be to do something. And I'm like, lady, you are the power. We the people. Like, remember, I don't understand how constituents allow themselves to be taken advantage like this, is if they don't have the power to vote these people out of office or recall them and just hold them accountable. It's almost like they're pointing out to someone out there wanting someone else, like the government, to do something without recognizing that this is your community. You have the power. All of y'all together can't rally up and get Nino Brown out of office. Why on earth do you people keep voting for politicians like this? Y'all, this is a part-time mayor, and she is spending taxpayer money. So I'm going to go ahead and I want to show you guys another clip. Let's take a look at this. Y'all, this little tyrant, this little part-time mayor that has aspirations of grandeur, this is a piece of work. It's interesting. I didn't even show y'all the clips where she came into a board meeting literally dressed like Nino Brown from New Jack City, because she really thinks she's doing something major, right? Like, y'all, this is a little small town. She's part-time, but not only is she the mayor, but she's also the city supervisor of like a neighboring township. How she's able to have those dual roles, I don't know. But here's what I want to say about all of this. I am more disappointed with all of the weak men who keep giving this Oratchetang space to thrive. Like, where are the men of Dalton, Illinois? What and why won't the residents recall her? I saw in the chat where people, I do recall where they had a recall and an appellate court judge shot it down. So that lets you know there's corruption. There's levels to this. I can't prove this, but I am alleging that there was some money that exchanged hands. If these clear and obvious infractions of corruption, and this appellate judge all of a sudden is just like, oh no, it's nothing to see here. Something's wrong. Something is wrong. I'm telling y'all, this small town mayor, this is just practice for a larger city such as like a Baltimore or Atlanta, mark my words, she got her eyes on bigger and higher heights. But the part that I don't understand is how one little woman is wielding this much power over this entire town. And I'm inclined, I'm just going to say it, the matriarchy has really done a number on the culture, so much so that men are actually bowing the knee to every crazy and deranged command of this small town mayor. Her police staff, those are mostly men. All this security detail and all the other men that are sitting on the board. Like, I don't understand. Like, she's not that intimidating. She's not. She would maybe $130 soaking wet. But what you are seeing happen up here in Dalton, it is simply it's a reflection, I'll say, of all of that queen energy that permeates Black American culture. Yes, I said it. It is almost like these people are under some sort of weird demonic spell that they cannot shake. Right? Like every time she raises her hand and makes a decree, everybody just got to bow down and comply. And if not, some bad gonna happen. You know, you better do, what Queen TIffany say. Cause if you don't, you don't want to feel her wrath. Like, seriously? I don't understand. This town, the median income is somewhere like $24,000. Like, that is below the poverty line. These people cannot afford to have their tax dollars spent in such a frivolous and irresponsible way. But yet this chick is bankrolling well over $350,000 a year in local politics as a part-time mayor, and don't nobody know nothing, see no evil, hear no evil. I don't buy it. Here's what I want to say about the matriarchy. This right here is an example of matriarchal rule. And what you can see is that matriarchy, it weakens communities and it ultimately weakens society. And y'all, this isn't just the recent news. When I was doing research for this segment and I looked into it, this woman has been acting a fool ever since she got into office. Like, she's only been in office since 2021. And as soon as she got in there, she started causing mayhem. And not only that, she's not just the mayor of Dolton, but she's the city supervisor of a neighboring township. Y'all saw it. This woman stood there refusing to be held accountable when she realized that she had messed up and the reporter caught her in a lie. Like she said, I wrote it down, talking about, I'm a fear God person. Like, don't even, man, what is a fear God person? That's how you know they lying. Ma'am, invoking the name of God like you know him. I'm a fear God person, no such a thing. Like, just making it up because she a shyster, right? She's a huckster. So she figures, most Black people, you invoke the name of God. Well, we can't question God. So she invokes God's name. And then she stands there looking smug and haughty and basically tells the reporter to his face that I'm not answering any more questions. Do you have any more questions? Like, don't be asking me how I'm spending these people's money in Las Vegas. I was doing what I was doing and I was where I was at. That's basically the attitude behind what she was saying. And she doesn't believe that she has to answer for anything because she is the one out here making sure that your roads are paved. Y'all. She is literally trying to paint this picture like I'm the one out here busting my butt, fighting for you. This how you gonna treat me? It's the whole I'm Big Mama and therefore I can do no wrong mentality. And it disgusts me because I understand the cultural and the generational mentality that is coming and that's fueling this type of attitude. This mentality, it never accepts responsibility or accountability for anything. They simply just tear up and destroy everything in their path and then demand that you bow down to them. Why? Because they're the queen. You know, I'm the one doing all the sacrificing and going on these trips to, you know, strip mall associations and like people are just building those ad nauseum. No, I saw someone say it in the chat. Nobody's building those, right? Now, I don't want to throw y'all for a loop, but this is completely unrelated. But you even see this unhealthy obsession with bowing down to the black woman. You saw it in that whole Kirk Franklin, you are not the father debacle. Let's go ahead and take a look. Play that clip for me.
And then I got a random call in 2017 saying he was dying of cancer, and I went and made peace with him, and that's the man that I thought was my daddy my whole life.
You thought he was your biological?
Because that's what I was always told. Because that's what Deborah told me. That's what his
You don't
family,
call your mother your mother?
Well, I've never called her my mother because Gertrude was my mom.
Okay.
You know, Gertrude has papers on me.
Okay.
You know, Gertrude gave me her legal name.
Okay.
And so, you know, that's mama. You know, Deborah was always Deborah. And and I don't mean that in any disrespect.
Okay.
I don't mean that in any harm. You know, it's because she's a black woman, and I think we always at every point we still got to respect the queens.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's how I feel about Heather B.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Sway, and Kirk with me. Queen. So.
I saw that. All right.
Now I know this clip, it doesn't have anything to do with this whole TIffany Henyard story. However, I showed that clip because I'm trying to prove a point. In this clip, y'all saw, you know, the backstory is where Kirk Franklin was telling his story about his biological father, right? So basically, the backstory is, to just bring y'all up to speed, all his life, he thought one particular man was his daddy. And this individual passed away a couple of years ago, and Kirk tells how, you know, he hated this man because he just wasn't there. But at a certain point, he wanted to go and make peace with the man on his deathbed. And on his deathbed, you know, Kirk is, I'm forgiving you, I'm releasing you and I'm letting it go. And, you know, the guy, he dying. So he like, yeah, okay, you know, no big deal. And then out the blue, right, one of his people that sing in his little ensemble thing was at a random funeral back at the hometown. And there's this guy there. I'm not gonna tell the whole story, but y'all go ahead and watch the Kirk Franklin documentary. But make a long story short, this other guy gets identified because the young lady who sings with Kirk is like, this dude looks like an old Kirk Franklin. Like he looked just like him, just aged. So a DNA test is taken, and not one DNA test, but 2 DNA tests are taken, demonstrating that the man that Kirk Franklin thought was his father all these years was not the pappy, y'all. He was not the father. But yet it was this other man at the funeral who agreed to take the test. It demonstrated that he was Kirk's biological father. Very touching story, very emotional. It was just hard hitting. You know, there are multiple or varying opinions about, you know, how this just so happened to coincide with an album. Some people were, you know, accusing Kirk of doing this, you know, for showmanship and clout. I don't know. I just know when I watched the documentary on its face value, I was like, dang, that's messed up. But here's what I walked away. What I walked away from the whole thing is that not one, but 2 DNA tests later, y'all, the mama is still lying. Kirk Franklin's biological mother. This man is a whole grown man, well into his 50s with children and I believe grandchildren of his own. This woman refuses to be held accountable. And this grown man refused to hold his own mama accountable. And you heard it, any black woman accountable, because why? She's the queen. This idea that at any cost, according to him, you must shield black women from criticism of any kind, no matter how wicked, how destructive their behavior is. It is wrong. Where did he learn such a worldview? What is so special, right? And just so infectious about the black woman that she can't do no wrong. And even when she's destroying lives, holding on to lies and taking them to her grave when observable reality such as a DNA test says, lady, we all know that you're lying. Like, if you can't confess, confess to God, but just be honest. Like, you can't run from this lie no more. And she doubles down on her lie, refusing to acknowledge the truth. And that grown man explained it and excused her behavior away by saying, at any cost, we gotta hold the black woman up in self-esteem and high esteem because, she's just the black woman. What is so special? What is so special about this demographic that whole grown men whose lives have been destroyed by these same women refuse to hold these women accountable and leverage the appropriate level of criticism or responsibility or accountability? Why can't that happen? These women would not be allowed to wield so much power if men stood in their rightful place and operated in their God-ordained role of leadership. It was like, now hold on, little red Corvette. You don't get to come in this town and run it like your name is Nino Brown. We're going to shut this down because I don't know the guy with the trucking company, but I'm looking at this and I'm like, so you just gonna bow down and let this woman do this? You and other men in the community, y'all can't come together, get an attorney. Y'all can't figure out how to fight back. She just gets to do what she wants to do. I don't care how much women whine and cry and just protest about equality. Some things just can't be equal. There are just some areas that simply benefit from strong male leadership, and communities and local municipalities are just a few of them. Every one of these darn liberal cities, Louisiana, New Orleans, San Francisco, Baltimore, Atlanta, the last administration, straight Oratchetangs ruined and ran these cities into the ground. Just ruined them. Ran them into the ground. The level of corruption is insane. How is this allowed to happen? Where are the men standing firm, saying, no, enough is enough? We don't bow down to you just because you highly melanated and can wear a lace front. And no, ain't nobody scared of y'all no more. I need the men. I ain't telling y'all what to do because then I'll sound just like one of them Oratchetangs. But I am begging the men to stop bowing down to the whims of these nutcase women who all they want to do is be in charge and control everything and put these chicks in their place. You say no. We don't need DEI, diversity and equity and inclusion in every level and sphere of life. Some things, we just need a man to step in and be like, no, we're not doing it. That don't even make sense. Like what? No. And I'm not saying that men are not liable for corruption. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is I am tired of seeing communities and municipalities decimated because they put these women in power. Right now, the RNC, we are suffering. No shade, but Rhoda McDaniel, she don't know what she's doing. She don't know what she's doing, and we are losing because it's like you gotta have the first woman, and she wears her 3-inch heels, and she can, command the room. No. Go sit down somewhere and support the men. We need to let the men lead for a little bit. Because the vindictive nature of this little woman misusing her political influence, it is sickening. And she's not going to stop until the constituents make her stop. What we keep forgetting is that politicians, they are not supreme. Like in this country, politicians are public servants. That is not their money. And if the citizens do not start holding these power-hungry, evil people accountable, the feminazi Oratchetangs like this one, she is coming to a city near you. Mark my words. Just wait. It's going to be all under, but we need to have the first black woman. We need to vote the first black. This one's the first black woman, political person the first black mayor, female of Dalton. So now they think they done checked the box and there's something special because they had the first black woman. Like, why is that an accomplishment? I came out the womb with this melanin. It doesn't make me special. It is no reflection of my dignity or my worth or my ability to do a good job. But we'll vote for someone on the basis of their black because we just like having the trophy. We was the first. And then when your economy is trash, your roads suck, and she rides off into the sunset with all of your money, everybody's trying to figure out, we just don't know how this happened. Like we was doing fine, and all of a sudden, we're in a deficit. The trash don't pick up. It's a mess. They don't build anything. They never leave the city in a position better than it was before they got there. They just burn it all down. And right behind them, from when you see the tracks of they stilettos, it ain't nothing but smoke and flames and just chaos. And I know y'all like, dang, April, you must really hate women. I don't hate women. I am a female. I'm raising 2 women. I just understand the manipulative, vindictive, and just wicked nature of when you give women too much power and when order is usurped and out of order, it's chaos. Whole households are just burnt down because a man, yes, I'm saying it, a man allows the woman to take the lead. He doesn't step in when appropriate to pull the reins and be like, no, we got to reel you in. We're not doing that. No, we can't do this. She needs restraints. Why? Because she's run off emotion and her feelings, and her heart is wicked just like a man, but we just compartmentalize things very, very different. And I'm not a misogynist, right? That don't even make sense. I don't hate women. I just want women to operate in their rightful role. Why? Because the reason why our children are the way that they are, because we're not operating in our rightful role. We want to wear the pants and we want to hold the gavel at the city board meeting, right? At the end of the day, I'm telling y'all, Politics is the new hustle. This woman, she is running the city like a queen pin. And in the end, she will bankrupt this community, leave office sitting financially pretty like a fat rat, while the locals she was elected to serve, they gonna struggle to put the pieces of their city back together again. Promise you that's what's gonna happen.